How can you read and write large numbers? Think about this question during the lesson. The digits 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 are used to write numbers. What are the different digits used in the number of quarters that could make one ring around the Earth at the equator? It would take about 1,600,000,000 quarters laid end to end to circle the world at the equator one time. The digits used in 1,600,000,000 are 0, 1, and 6. Would a place value chart make it easier to read the number in this diagram? Yes, a place value chart is helpful in reading and writing large numbers such as 1,600,000,000. What tells you the value of each digit? The place of a digit in a number tells you its value. In the number shown, which is the digit with the greatest value? The digit with the greatest value is the 1. 1 is in the billions place. Its value is 1,000,000,000. If the first digit of a number is in the billions place, how many digits are in the number? There are 10 digits in a number when the first digit is in the billions place. The number 1,600,000,000 is written in standard form. Standard form. How would you write this number in expanded form? Expanded form. The number 1,600,000,000 in expanded form is written as 1,000,000,000 plus 600,000,000. How would you write this number in word form? Word form. The word form of this number is 1,600,000,000. In the place value chart, what is the largest number that could appear in any period? The largest number that could appear in any period is 999. These are different ways to read and write numbers.
All right, good morning. Today we are going to talk about place value up until the billions. And place value is actually really easy if you remember the different places and remember that they all repeat. So what we have here, I drew a large number here, and I have all of the places from 1 to billions. Now what you'll notice is that each one of these periods, we call a period, right here, a group of 3 places, and you saw that in the animation that started off the lesson. So a period is a group of 3 places. Each period repeats ones, tens, hundreds, and then when you get to the comma, it changes the name. So first we start with ones, tens, hundreds, and then we see a comma right here, and that changes the name to now we're working with the thousands. So you'll see I added the thousands here. Still repeats though, ones, tens, hundreds, just with the thousands. I get to a comma, changes the name now to millions. So 1,000,000, 10,000,000, 100,000,000. Place values repeat. It's always ones, tens, hundreds, and then a name change. Ones, tens, hundreds, change the name to thousands. 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, name change to millions. 1,000,000, 10,000,000, 100,000,000. So when you're remembering places, the key things you want to remember are ones, tens, hundreds. So we go from right to left. So smallest place is here. The biggest place is over here on the left-hand side. And then you want to remember that when you see a comma, you have a name change. So first comma, thousands. Next comma, millions. Next comma, billions. So you always want to remember that the commas change the name, and it's really easy. It repeats ones, tens, hundreds. There's nothing tricky about place value. You just need to remember ones, tens, hundreds, comma changes the name. Now, also in the lesson, we're going to talk about standard form versus expanded form versus word form. So we have 3 different ways that we read numbers. It's the same number, we just read it either by writing it down in letters, we read it either by expanding it out into the pieces, each place gets its own piece, or we read it how it's normally written, how we would write it when we're working. This number and any number is really easy to figure out the place and to figure out how much each place represents if you say the number out loud slowly. When you say the number out loud slowly, you actually hear how much each place represents. For instance, if I take a look at just the second half of this large number, if I read this with just these 6 numbers, I get 567,000. Remember, the comma tells us the name. 567,890. If you say that number slowly, you hear how much each digit represents. 567,000. So 500,000, 60,000, 7,000. You actually hear it. 567, and then because it comes right after this comma, 1,000. 890, because there's nothing, it's just a 0 here. So if you say your numbers out loud slowly, you will actually hear how much they represent. If I use this whole big large number, and I'm standing outside so you can see the number, I get 1 billion, here's the comma, tells me what name I have to say, 1,234,000,000, the comma tells you to say the name, 567,890. When you say the numbers out loud slowly, you will hear how much each place equals. Let's take a look at a couple numbers. So I'm going to erase this. All right, let's try this number. All right, so if I take a look at this number, I get 206,000, the comma tells me to say the name, 419. If I write this out in expanded form, to write out expanded form, all you do is write out each place separately. So this 2 is 200,000 plus the 0, which equals nothing, so there's no tens, no 10,000s. Come to the 6. This 6 is 6,000. Ones, tens, hundreds, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. So 6,000. Come to the 4. Say it out loud. You hear 400. Plus the 1. The 1 is in the tens place, so 10. Plus the 9, since the 9 is in the ones place. If you say this in the expanded form, all you're doing is writing out each separate place. So you represent how much each digit equals. This digit is 2, 200,000. It's in the hundred thousands place. There's nothing in the 10,000s place. It's just a 0. So then we go over to the 6,419. 1, 10, 9. You hear it when you say it out loud. So whenever you're writing expanded form, all you need to do is say the number slowly out loud and write down each digit, what it represents. 200,000, 206,419. That's how we write it out in expanded form. So expanded form is just showing each single place and how much each single place represents. Word form, that's really easy to figure out. It's just how you would write it if you were writing this as a number. So 200, and give me a second, it'll take a second. 200, well, let's do 206. 206, now give the name of the comma, 206,000. 419. So here we have word form. Here is expanded form. Here is word form. So the first would be expanded. The first would be word. It's very easy. The key thing to remember with place value is to simply say each digit slowly and then write down what each represents. 206,419. And remember that when you're talking about place value, you want to think ones, tens, hundreds, and a comma changes the name. Ones, tens, hundreds, comma changes the name. We get ones, tens, hundreds changes to thousands. Ones, tens, hundreds changes to millions. One, tens, hundreds changes to billions, but it's very repetitive. Go ahead and try some of the practice problems yourself and see how you do. Good luck, guys!